Good evening, everyone. So, welcome back. So, in this session, we will learn about how do you connect an Azure DevOps with Azure Keyvault, right? Why do I need to link Azure DevOps with Azure Keyvault? What is the use of it? So, generally, if you see Azure Keyvault, the name indicates it's a vault, which means it is nothing but to store the secrets. Okay, so let it be any API connection strings, let it be any SQL connection strings, let it be a username, let it be a password, let it be any certificates. So all these things are kept on this particular key vault in Azure, and we can link those things to with Azure DevOps so that Azure DevOps can easily connect these secrets to any of my CI/CD pipelines. So thereby, I don't need to specifically give a username password in each and every pipeline. And thereafter, if I wanted to change any username or password, I just need to change it in one place, which is in my Azure cloud, and that will automatically get reflected to my Azure DevOps and its corresponding CI/CD pipelines. Right? This gives us an secure coding practices, and this will help us to easily track all the changes in one place rather than going and changing it in each and every places, right? And how do you do that? Again, with the help of a service connections, we will be able to first link between Azure DevOps and Azure Key Vault, right? In our previous labs, we would have seen how do you establish a service connection between Azure DevOps and Azure Key Vault. If you guys are not able to understand that, I'll give the links on the description, so that go back to that video, have a look into how to establish a service connection, and then we can come back to this. Right now, let's quickly jump on to the lab. So this is my project, which is import demo. Okay, and if you would have seen, we have established the service connection, which is Azure DevOps, and this service connection is going to get established between my Azure DevOps and Azure Cloud. So what we have done, we have just tried to choose a subscription ID, subscription name, client ID, client secret key, and tenant ID, and then we have verified and given up permissions to all the pipelines. So now what we are going to do is, like, we have to go to this pipelines. Under pipelines, you will have an option called libraries. So this library is a place to store all the secure files and secrets, right? Before we go to this, we have to go to Azure Cloud. I'm going to Azure Cloud, and then I'm choosing a Key Vault. And in this Key Vault, I have a demo Key Vault, and under this demo Key Vault, I have two secrets that is being stored, which is database username and database password. Now I need to take these database username and password and then put it into Azure Cloud. That's a lab which we are going to do. So under Azure DevOps, under projects, under pipelines and libraries, I'm going to go to this variable groups, and then I'm creating a variable group, and this variable group can be called as database group. So since I have a database username and password, I'm just giving this as a database variable group. And here, if you see, there is an option link secrets from Azure Key Vault as a variable. I just need to enable it, and this will ask me for an Azure subscription and Key Vault name. So this is where our service connection comes into the picture. So if you drop down, you can see the service connections that we have already created it, which is this one. And by default, our Key Vault will be populated over here. So this is the Key Vault that we have, right? And then if you see here, it says there is a permission which is being stopped to give it. So it says login account, it's permission target to get and list and everything. So what we have to do is that we have to give this permission for AZDO, which is our app service or app application registration, to this particular Key Vault for get and list permissions. If not, you will get this particular error, right? So I'm going back to my Key Vault. Under access policies, I have to create a new access policy, and then the secrets permissions where get and list permissions, and for the key operation get and list permissions, and for certificate get and list permissions I have to give it. I don't need to give for delete, backup, and restore. So this get and list is what is needed. If you see here, it says the specified connection needs to have get and list secret permissions, right? I'm just giving get and list for all the things, and then click on next. And here is where I need to choose the application name. So my application name is AZDO. This is the one. And then click on next and then create it. Once after you create that application, then go back over here and then try to refresh it. Now if you see, the error is gone because we have given the permissions to that particular application connection. So now once after this is done, click on add. Now you will be able to see the Keyvaults variable over here, which is database password and database username. Click on OK and you will be able to add those two over here. Click on save. So now what happens, my Keyvault is linked to my Azure DevOps, and the Keyvault variable, which is database username and database password, is being brought into Azure DevOps, right? Now what I have to do is I have to go back to any of the pipelines, create any of pipelines, and then just choose any of the empty projects just to make sure we are able to get that. And under variables, you will be able to see something called as variable groups. This variable group is where I have to link it. Click on link variable group, and this is the variable group name. If you link that, then you can see the database username and password given over here, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this, go here, and then I'm just trying to choose shell task. Let me change this to Ubuntu, and then I'm making it as inline, and here I'm just saying echo the DB username is $. Okay, and the same goes with the password. The DB password is okay. So once after, it's like a normal variable that you have to declare between here, what is the name and the password, and then you have to give it with this $ and the bracket names, right? Once after you give it, just click on save and queue, and then automatically your normal variables will get extracted and worked on. So this is how you can try to link between your Keyvault and the Azure DevOps and use that Keyvault variables into any of the pipelines by linking the variables, right? It's very easy. Just make sure you have proper connections and everything. And if you face any issues or anything, please feel free to let me know. I'll be happy to help you guys across. Thank you.